What's up, mortgage coach community? Sitting down with Alfonso Esposito out of New Jersey, East Coast, dude. So I'm coming West Coast from Portland, talking East Coast. What's going on, Alfonso?
Everything's awesome. Thanks for having me today. It's sunshine and rainbows here today. So
Yeah, no, it is actually sunshine here. We don't have rainbows because we don't have any rain yet. I said yet. We're I'm sure that's coming. Well, dude, I always get fired up interviewing you. I think you're just a shining light of what it means to be a modern mortgage professional. I really appreciate everything you do to grow Mortgage Coach at Prime Lending, the company you work for. So thank
sure.
you for being you're a leader within the full community, but you're also a great leader within that platform. So really appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, welcome.
So this call came from a Clubhouse conversation. I don't think it was this week, but it was 2 weeks ago.
hmm
And we were talking about great questions to ask realtors. I've had a lot of top producers tell me that there's never been a better time to recruit realtors than like right now. Like it's a good time to recruit agents because they're having problems.
hmm
And it's also starting to slow down. So there's still bidding wars. It is slowing down. So why don't you walk us through some of the things you're doing to do that?
Well, it's exactly both. Ultimately for me, I have seen the amount of challenges that lenders are having execute. So, right away, I want to dive in there. And then secondly, it's slowed down a little bit. It's still super busy, but I have to get back to the basics and get in front of agents. So, my story with this is that I've always loved the part about gaining new relationships. It's actually the funnest part of my job. Putting applications and working through files, it's fun, but not as fun, right? So I love building new rapport, building community, and building relationships, and really just getting information out. So the story goes is I'm doing things a little differently. I have my I'll show you a little picture here, but I have my little book with my top 7 questions. Okay, and this goes with me on every interview. And what I want to do with this particular office is brand new office, about 30 agents, 16 showed up. So I'm pretty happy with that. It was in person. And I brought a TCA printout instead of sending it digitally, which I did follow up with that. I brought 16 printouts of the TCA, which, by the way, I don't know how many people print them. They're really nice. I mean, they're graphs, they're colorful, they're great. I do recommend printing in color. So I met with the broker. I found out what some of the pain points were with the agents, and a lot of it was buyer fatigue. So I did a buy now versus buy later, which I've been using for this whole year. Printed it out. I didn't talk, and that's what I was saying in Clubhouse. I really did not talk about how great I am or prime lending, where I work, or anything. I just wanted to know what was their pain points. So when I started talking, I asked really 5 questions. The first question is, number one, what's the biggest pain point you're having right now in the industry? And they all raised their hand and told me. The second was, what's the biggest issue you have in the mortgage space? What are your problems? And come to find out, the biggest one, honestly, they said underwriting, which I thought it was funny because it's really my job to make sure that that loan is properly set up for underwriting. The third thing I asked was, what is your challenge with your loan officer or loan partner you're working with today? And that just opened up the floodgates from non-responsive, not available, not my partner. And I was just shocked by that. And then the fourth one I asked was, what are your non-negotiables, okay, with a mortgage partner? And then they told me that. And then I just literally went over the TCA. I went over the buy now versus later. They never heard of it. They never seen it. I asked the room a few more questions about some of the appraisal contingencies. They told me some of the pain they were having. I had a solution for that. And then I just literally listened to them. I don't want to say complain, vent. And at the end of the meeting, I talked way less than I just talked there. I had about 15 minutes of time to speak to them. I walked away with some new relationships for sure, some friends and good laughs for sure. But I walked away with that day 3 referrals. One is under application already. Another one just made an offer today, and another one is making an offer today. So really 1 deal already in the books and 2 more coming. And now I'm doing a WebEx next week, and I'm going to be doing that weekly with the office because he said more people would come if we did a WebEx. So hopefully 30 participants once a week on Mondays.
Wow. So
All right, that was a
what
lot
a
of
powerful success story. So everybody, and we've got a nice little audience going in Facebook right now. So for those of you that are watching in Facebook and you have questions or comments, put them in comment and put it in comments down below. Real quick, I want to make sure we also set the table. I mean, you're doing a lot of business. You know, how many loans are you closing on average a month? How many loans are you trending to, do you expect to close by the end of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trending around 27 units a month right now. We'll definitely hit over 300 units this year.
And how many did you do over last year?
299.
Woo! So, you know, it's funny. When I interviewed Jeremy in 2019, he closed 299. And I go, what's your goal in 2020? And he said 300. And of course, you know, 2020 came, and I think you did over 500. But yeah. Well, first of all, this is, you know, 2020 was a year where there was a trillion, more than a trillion more in loans than we thought was coming. This is a year where we lost a trillion in refis. So congratulations. I mean, to be on track to have as good a year as last year is something to really be proud of. So the success formula I wrote down, and I hope everybody heard this, is you could just hear it in his voice. You could see it in his eyes. You could hear it in his vibe and energy. I love building new relationships. So guys, he got into some tactics, but we could all feel that Alfonso likes building new relationships. And so if you're not there, where are you at? You know, your new relationship vibe, is it like, I love doing it and I'm driven by it? Or is it like, this is that hard part of the job that I don't look forward to? Where's your big energy and your vibe to that? But I wrote that. You then said, I am coming to these meetings. So it must have been in person with 16 printed out TCAs. Guys, it wasn't about the TCA. It was about the strategy. He came with 16 printed out why buy now versus later strategies. So he said in step 5 that it was about going over the TCA, but it was teaching them something they didn't know. Like they did not have it in top of mind awareness where look with graphs and charts at how buying now makes sense by buying later. So guys, that's a light bulb moment for agents. Like if you're not having the why buy now conversations with agents, and if it's virtual, like WebEx or Zoom or whatever, it's a link and you're showing it. If it's in person, it's printed out. And it's like, and hey, if you want a link, text me and I'll send you a digital version of this.
Right.
Because if you're not doing that, like you're not recruiting realtors now as fast as you possibly could. So, I mean, we can pretty much stop the call right now. We're not going to, we're going to keep going, but we can stop right now. And if you want to recruit realtors in today's market, ask those 4 questions. What is your pain point? What's your biggest mortgage issue? What's your biggest loan officer challenge? What are your non-negotiables? And then go over a TCA and teach a strategy. Anything else you want to add to the list or to the party here?
No, but again, I'm a 19-year veteran, and I've been a mortgage coachers. I'm almost to my 1,000 TCA. I'm really super close to that, you know, for about 2.5 solid years, maybe close to 3, right? And what I loved about it, and I do love recruiting agents more than anything in this business. So thanks for calling that out, is really asking better questions. And that's what I came down to. And that's what I was passionate about in Clubhouse. Like I wasn't asking great questions. It didn't matter if I was in this business for 9 months or 19 years, I learned how to ask better questions and I made it way less about me. And I felt like I won. I felt like, honestly, I won the Super Bowl. Now I've met with 20, 30 offices in my career. This is not new to me, right? I work with 30 agents right now, roughly, maybe give or take. That literally was as good as my first day when I got my first realtor. I'm no joking, because I provided value, information, and I let them know I'm a partner. So I would just say, guys, they need us. We need them as well. But if you're a true professional, people are going to flock to you. People are going to call you, and they're going to want to do business with you versus you calling them to do business with them. I hope that makes sense.
It makes tons of sense. So let's do some taking action. I think we've given them a lot of what to do.
Sure.
And this is great reminders, whether you're brand new in the business or you're doing several hundred loans a year, you're doing 500 loans a year. I think people got some takeaways from this. So I don't think we need to give them more ideas. Let's talk about how to turn these ideas into reality. And one of the things we're doing right now in the mortgage coach community is we're doing the TCA a day challenge. So I didn't come up with this idea. Todd Bookspan from Win by Noon came up with the idea. And this is actually something that he sells on the Win by Noon website. One side of this, call it a wall calendar, is a TCA a day challenge. And one side of it is a CMA a day challenge, where it's for realtors, so that a realtor can, hey, if you do a CMA every day as an agent, you're going to close a lot of sell a lot of homes, get a lot of listings. And if you do a TCA a day as a loan officer, you're going to get really good at giving advice versus price.
Yeah.
So have you been following that challenge that we're doing in the community at all?
100%. Yeah. I mean, I love it. And I love all the interviews you've done over the last, I guess, month now. But yeah, we're doing it. I'm trying to get this more to my agents to get them to do the CMAs to really help create some inventory. So I'm actually, listening to your last interview, I'm actually going to create a little Facebook group with a few agents that are interested.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I won't lie. I stole that pretty much right when she said it.
Do you already
And
have a Facebook group, by the way?
I'm starting it. Yeah, my assistant's working on it now. So we're going to do that, and we're going to try to get some realtors on board. I mean, I do the TCA a day for sure, but now I'm trying to get a couple agents to see the value in the CMA a day. And as I said earlier, my teammate, that my loan partner, excuse me, is doing it and is having great success with it. So we're gonna go all in. We have a meeting tonight to talk about it.
Well, let's do this, because you're doing a TCA a day now, and I would love to challenge you to lead a group within Prime to do the TCA day challenge. So I'm going to show a highlight from that. But let's also, if you're going to start doing the CMA a day challenge, let's maybe a month from now get you back on and do an interview on that. I want to play. I don't know if you've seen this, but this is a little 2-minute video. It's just a clip of Jeremy and the results he's having from the CMA a day. I want to play this, bring Jeremy on stage for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
and then let's you and I unpack what a manager would do if they wanted to help loan officers play this game. You cool with that?
Sure. 100%.
All right. So let's see what Jeremy is doing, guys, and let's see the results he's getting. So here's him last week, not this week. Actually, it was 2 weeks ago. Last week was the 4th week of this challenge. This was on the 3rd week of the challenge. And so he'd been doing this. He had a number of his loan officers go through this. And let's see the results that they're getting.
The data is consistent, which is interesting to me. Okay. So here's what's the most interesting. I'm going to skip. I always like eating dessert first. So I'm going to skip to the end first, and then I'll go backwards. So average concession, okay, since we started this, average concession of these 3 people that I did have all their data for of doing this on a daily basis literally went down by an average of 27.67 basis points. Okay, 27.67 basis points. That's huge. That's really, really, really big. And that's just measuring it from when I started it, right? Like within my teams. Absolutely gigantic. What else is interesting to me is that a file to like disclose like actual real loan, like Brad, for example, you were at 38%, right? From a file start to an actual app, like disclosed, a year to date. Okay. In the last 21 days since we've been starting this, you are literally at 69%. Okay. Which I thought was very, very, very interesting. Same goes for Robert, for example. Year to date, initial file, right, to actual app, disclose like a real app, was at 44%. Okay. Now, in the last 3 weeks since we've been doing this, 90%. It's very, very, very interesting, right? Danny, for you year to date, right? You were at 41% file start to actual disclosed real app. In the last 3 weeks, you are at 6, 9, 12, you're at 50%. So everyone has gone up, right? Double digits at least, right? Has gone up, and they're all using TCAs more and more and more. Now, what's interesting about me, and I'm going to put myself on a mini pedestal, which I never do. I say this with no ego, but I thought the data was interesting. Okay. So my concession hasn't changed at all. I wonder why. I think it's because I literally use it like 1,000% of the time the same way every single time, right? Also, my concession amount compared to the peer group that I compared it to was an average of 29 basis points less, right? So 29 basis points less, okay, on the concession, which is huge. So I thought that those two things were very, very, very interesting. What else was interesting was that year to date, okay, I am at, from a file start to an actual app in process, I am at 64%. Okay, 64%. That was extremely higher, okay, extremely higher than the peer group that I compared it to. Once again, the only thing I can point to that I do different, right, is the TCA with the videos at pre-qual, at contract, at file start for refinances. Another thing that I noticed in the data when I looked at it is that, let me just see a show of hands. How many of you don't trigger your refinances right up front, like on day one? Yeah. I thought that might be the case, because when I was looking through the data, I noticed that my file starts, right? Because I trigger day one no matter what. I like using that pressure, and to get them a TCA, force myself to do one right away as pressure to get them information. So I noticed that my file starts, right, to actual apps is way higher because I trigger right up front on a refinance, like no matter what. So I noticed that that was a big difference as well. So Walt, with you.
So much gold in that. So when you watch that, what did you take away from that, you know, as a manager and a leader in the industry?
I mean, the few things I took away, I mean, the one that keeps ringing in my head is when he triggers, you know, the loan, right? The 3-day window here. And it puts pressure on him to get that TCA and win the deal, and probably puts pressure on the customer a little bit to make that decision. So I thought that was an interesting strategy, and it makes sense because it keeps them accountable, right? We only have 3 days. So if we don't get it disclosed, we have to withdraw the application. I mean, I love the statistics of how his team, their applications to, I guess it was pre-qual to application, or applications went up. I mean, some of them doubled. I mean, that's pretty amazing. So, and then I think the first piece he led with is pricing exceptions went down, right? So, you know, the pricing got better on his team. You know, it seems like he's always good in pricing. So no, it was good in every aspect. I actually listened to that this morning. So I definitely very familiar with it.
So guys, you know, Jeremy, every time I've interviewed him, and I've always talked about, hey, conversion rate. If you're not measuring your conversion rate as a loan officer, you should. And the easiest conversion of all is how many credit reports did you run versus how many loans did you open versus how many loans that you closed. There is other conversion. You could do lead to credit to that. But if you're not checking your credit report to active loan in process, you're missing the boat. If you're a branch manager and you're not doing that, you're missing the boat. If you're not measuring what are you costing the company in basis points? That's basically an indicator of saying how high value of a salesperson you are. How good a job are you at creating value with the consumer to where they're going to be less likely to price shop you. So it's costing your company money if you're double-digit basis points. Jeremy's always single digits, at least when I've interviewed him. Last time I talked to him, he was at 6 basis points that it was costing him in pricing exceptions. And his region, because he manages 53 loan officers, is usually over 30%. My guess is when he was sharing the numbers, he was at about 6%, and they were at about 6 basis points. and they were at 35. But guys, if you're an individual loan officer, that's part of your batting average. Like, how profitable are you? How quality are you at helping folks? So my challenge to you, Alfonso, you game with, leading, for the month of September, not going to make this a 1-year ask or a several month ask, but just for the month of September, leading a crew and also being part of the one that we're doing. You don't have to come every week, but you're invited to come as a leader.
Sure.
But the one we're doing on Tuesdays, TCA Tuesday, and then leading one at your company.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I love doing it. So yeah, I would love to share it.
So that's my ask to everyone. If you're on this and you are a branch manager, would love to have you as an active leader doing a mortgage coach challenge. I want to show you guys another resource, and I'll put a link down below. But I'm trying to get as many mortgage coach black belts, mortgage coach red belts doing this TCA a day challenge at the company or the branch they work at. So I created this little playbook for you. I built it based off of what we've done with Jeremy for the past 4 weeks, but it's step one. Step one, what are you going to do? You're going to have a specific meeting. You're going to meet once a week. Maybe, get clear on what the advantages are with everyone. We broke it down. What are the metrics you want to track? Credit pulls to apps and basis points. So that's my other thing, guys. Want you to measure it. So hopefully you work for a company where you have enough transparency, where everybody knows conversion, everybody knows that, and then report back in our Facebook group. I'm looking for people to interview that are doing this. I'm looking for stories around it. And at the end of the day, if you want to recruit lots of realtors in this market, 4 of those questions take no training at all. But that 5th thing that Alfonso's doing, going over the TCA with a room full of realtors, guys, you can't have that conversation and do that part of the realtor recruiting process if you're not a badass mortgage coach, right, Alfonso?
Yes, I would agree. I mean, it's like I said earlier, it's changed the way I present now. So 100%, and it's really, what I think it's really simple is just I provide value instead of, again, just, I used to blab how great I am. Nobody cares about that. So I think what you're trying to do with the CMA is really get that out to the community of realtors, and really for us to build that TCA behind it, which we do, is really just pump that up. I mean, the numbers that you've gone over are just astounding on some of the success stories. So I'm excited to launch more into it. And definitely I would love to lead a group with my company here to get into the challenge and share some results.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. You always do a great job. Thanks for this leadership to the whole mortgage coach community. Know that if you need any help supporting your prime lending family, I'm here to help. And then, you also have a success manager. For anyone listening to this, if you're a broker, if you're an individual loan officer and you don't have a manager that's doing this, every Tuesday at 11 o'clock Pacific, we're doing a mortgage coach accountability session. I can't have hundreds of people in there, so it's pretty much invite only. If you do want to be considered to be in Zoom, so you're getting coached, just private message me or email me at Dave@mortgagecoach. I'll invite a few more people into that group, but everybody gets to listen in. So you can listen at that. It's live at 11 Pacific every Tuesday, and then it's recorded in our community, the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel. And we have a playlist. It's called the TCA a Day Challenge. I made a special playlist for it. So if you don't have a manager that's leading you and providing this, we'll do that for you. And for all you managers out there, I would love to have dozens of these things happening in the month of September. So, dude, any closing thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, just simply thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be in this community and be involved in the community, and all that you do for all of us. We appreciate you.
Well, hey, bro, I have the community. It's here, but you are the one that's listening to the content and making time to give back. So appreciate it, Alfonso.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Hey, give us a like if you got value from this. Share it with your mortgage friends. Share it with your manager. We're trying to get a big movement going in the month of September. Take care, y'all.